Are you ready to have some fun and exciting knowledge about how to live lovingly? That's what we're going to talk about now. So all of you, most of you, had an experience falling in love with someone. Who has? Nobody? You just got married, somebody forced you like a Korean culture? So when you fell in love with your spouse, what happened? How did you find her, or how did you find him? Lot of rumors? Oh! Rooms, across. Sorry, okay. So if I ask you twice, it's because I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing from here. Maybe too much of mic echo here. So how did you find your spouse? That's right. How did I ever end up with this guy that I cannot shake off, right? Or how did I ever end up with this woman? That sometimes we do feel like that. It's not that we're so consciously smart that we find the right person. Oftentimes, most of the times, we don't find the right person. It's because we don't find our partner on our own will. Our DNA in the brain does the work for us. Then inside of the DNA, there's what is called the human lymphocyte antigen. It's an immune coding system, the chemicals. The human lymphocyte antigen actually looks for our own matching person. And when it does, because it's an immune system, it looks for the person who has the most opposite of your own to offer the best help possible to our own kids. That's all it does. It doesn't screen anything else. So if any guy comes to me with a beautiful flower asking me, would you go out on a date? If that guy has a very, very similar immune system of mine, no matter how good that person is, he could have all the communication skills, compassion and heart all developed, all the knowledge what to make a woman happy, all of this. If he happened to have very similar immune system like I do, I will not be interested in that guy. My friend says, oh, he's too boring. He's no good. He doesn't entertain me. Because the brain doesn't get excited about him. But if there's a guy who has a very opposite immune system, let's say that I am strong in lungs, I have a strong heart, a strong bladder, that I don't get any infection from the bladder infection. But this guy happens to have a very weak bladder, but maybe a strong liver, strong spleen, other kind of things. Then he happened to walk by and gives me a flower to ask for a date. No matter how horrible that person might be, my brain gets excited about him. And thinking, wow, this is the person I've been waiting for. You know, my brain is just waking up from all the sleeps I've been waiting for. So the HLA does this for us. And when HLA finds that opposite person, the person who has opposite immune factor, it sends out the whole message throughout the DNA saying that I found him and I found him. And then DNA sends out the whole message throughout the brain, and there we go, the huge party comes. That's what happens. Brain recognizes the person, and we wake up right away. Any depressed person at this time will still wake up, come out of depression, and become very alive. So at the recognition of this person who has a very much opposite immune factors, and that's what happens. And then when this whole party is thrown up, and there we go, all the love cocktail chemicals come out. The first one, of course, the phenylethylamine, the famous love chemical. And when that famous phenylethylamine comes out, it stimulates norepinephrine comes and dopamine comes. All of this love feeling chemicals come out, and that's when we say we've gone crazy, right? Because phenylethylamine makes us feel very, very sexually interested. We're walking by, then we want to hold hands each other. We sit somewhere together, we want to lean on each other, hugging each other, and when that relationship advances, we want to kiss each other, and then we go marry, right? And dopamine, same thing. Dopamine makes us feel so good. This is the time, even all the chickenpox scars look like pimples. She looks so cute. And he was captured by this love cocktail, actually. And when he first saw me, he just fell in love with me, right? And he fell in love with me until 3 days before. As one of his best friends asked him, don't you think this chair, that was my maiden name, is too short for you? He didn't realize how short I was. And of course he's 6 feet tall and I don't make 5 feet. So you can imagine there's a huge difference in height. And he still didn't realize until one of his best friends challenged him. So of course it was 3 days before he had to come out to see me, right? And when he came out, first time he took a good look at me from bottom to the top and thought, wow, she is really short. Well, what is he talking to his brain? He's like, so what? I'm tall, we'll make up for all of this, right? It was lucky that it happened to be the height. What if my issue was a drug, gamble addiction, alcohol addiction, lot of anger problem? If that was the problem, would he be able to recognize? No. He would still say, she's cute and lie, because I did have a lot of anger problem. When we were dating, when I got mad, in Korea, there's a little bridge crossing from this side of the street over the street and the ending on the other side of the street. When I got mad, I would run from this side of the street, run up there and cross the street and go down and try to catch the bus before he can catch me. And at that time he thought, oh, she was so cute and live and so energetic. But once he marries me, what does he find? She's not so cute and energetic and live. It becomes an anger roaring lion every morning, right? But you don't recognize this while you're dating. And then what happened with all these chemical cocktails coming up? We are in infatuation. We fell in love with someone who's crazy. Look at love at the first sight. You're feeling good, you at this time become a different person. You want to know everything about that person. You want to find everything you can do for that person. You're looking for everything positive about that person. You can never see anything negative. Everything looks beautiful, right? And there's a lot of energy. Even if you don't sleep, you still have a lot of energy to get up in the morning after 3 to 4 hours of sleep and still feel good that you can go and perform well at the workplace. And even at this time, even penny pinchers, they will blow their monies, right? Texting $500, no problem. It's okay. Airplane fee $1,000. She's in the East Coast. I have to go see her over the weekend. No problem. Your mind is not the right mind. And then you just feel so compassionate and you admire this person for whatever. And whatever negative trait that he or she may have, you feel like you can change them. You became halfway between human being and God, thinking, oh, I can change her. Oh, I can change him. So, your kids get into dating and you find out your daughter is dating a guy who's been married before. That's okay, nowadays that does happen. But he's alcoholic, no job, he does marijuana every day, every weekend he goes to gamble. You try to stop her from dating her. What does she say? Dating him. What does she say? Oh, Mom, you just don't know him. He's such a good guy. And he promised me if I ever marry him, he will stop gambling, he will stop alcohol, he will stop this and that, he will find a job, he will work and all of this. Will he? But was he genuinely honest at that time? Yes, he was. He meant it. He felt like he could do it for her. But when he goes back to when he marries that person, living together for a while, himself, his genuine himself will appear again. So that's what happened. So in an infatuated state, it's just like this. You spin your head so many times, and then you become in the state of altered consciousness. So you don't really think good. So scientists that actually do a lot of testing about this. So they found out the blood level that goes to the frontal lobe brain. What's the frontal lobe brain? What's the function of the frontal lobe brain? Critical thinking. Oh, she's no good. She looks good, but she's got too much anger. She's going to drive me crazy. All of this critical thinking. It goes into sleep like 30 to 40%. You see? That's why we get married. Under the deception of our own chemical, everything looked good. And during this time, everybody act like a high-T person. What is this T here? Testosterone. What is testosterone? It's a male hormone. So what does the function of this male hormone? It makes guys look like a guy, right? Their voice deepens, their shoulder broadens, and then they have a lot of beard and mustache growing, all of this. But in addition to that, after you became an adult, then what happened? This chemical is the leading chemical of the sexual desire. And during this chemistry pouring time, even though the woman, we don't have a lot of testosterone, the average ratio is 1 to 10. So if guy wants to have a sex for 10 times, woman just want to have a 1 time. And that's the ratio of average people, right? But during this time, because of all these love cocktails, we women also act like we have a lot of testosterone. We're walking by, we want to hold his hand too. We sit down, we want to lean on his shoulder. And we go somewhere, and after all the courtship little thing, we want to kiss on his cheeks, and all of this thing happened. So you gentlemen got all deceived, thinking if I marry her, she will fulfill my need. But after you got married, what happened? You got deceived, right? She's no longer as sexual as she was when you were dating. So all this thing, all of this supernatural power that you think you inherited during this time, make us to choose someone without really thinking. So if our brain stays as alert as we are now, nobody will get married. Right? We all know his faults and her faults. If we see all of this, we will all stay what? Single. So apparently it was God's design that he made us halfway asleep during our infatuated time, so we cannot really see the real person. And then you can see the all falling in love is a number game. Number of the immune factor that our brain is counting. It's a number game, it's a time limited. This love cocktail does not pour entire life. It only pours within 6 months to about 2 years of our marriage. And if we have a destructive communication pattern, it may not even last 6 months. You know that happens. And sometimes when the love cocktail kind of gets a little bit lower, there will be another DNA match. And that's what we call having an affair. And it happens, we all get tempted, including myself. One time, I came out of the bank, BBCN bank that I used, and I was coming out of that bank door, and I walked toward the street and toward my car, and there's a gentleman with a white hair, maybe similar age, you know, and then he was walking, coming from the other end. So we passed each other. And then all of a sudden, what does he do? He backed up, and he looked at me. He came right in front of me. He said, "Oh, you look like an angel." So what's happening here? The cocktail pouring. The HL is recognizing I have the opposite immune factor. And I'm thinking to myself, if you know me, I'm not exactly an angel. You know, now my husband knows I am not exactly an angel. I had a lot of problems when we got married. So, you know, as I was going to pass by, and he followed me one more step, and he said, "You look like a very, very nice lady." And then I'm thinking, all right, I gotta set this thing right. I said, "You know, sir, I'm married." And the worst of it, he said, "I am married too." And I'm thinking, poor guy. Why do I say poor guy? I know what's happening with him, so I don't go home and thinking about it for the next 6 months. But if his cocktail clicked with me, that he will be thinking about me for the next 6 months. I wonder where she lives. What does she do? Well, how am I going to meet her and all of this, right? So these things can happen. So if you're already married and another cocktail clicks again, then what do? You just have to tell yourself, don't get deceived. The guy that you're attracted to again is just very similar to your own husband. I'm telling you, 80% of guys are very same. And 80% of women are very similar. So even if you change your partner, you will not get any happier. You might as well learn to live happier way. The changing partner is not going to work. So you have to know if one of your church members, a lot of church members, the females, would love to fall in love with the pastors without knowing what they have to go through, right? The sermon is beautiful. He's so compassionate. He's so loving and very caring in the church. So a very lonely woman will very easily fall in love with your own spouse. And pastors, I'm telling you, don't follow her. Your career not only will be ended, your happiness will also be ended. It doesn't work that way. Maybe it's a deception of 6 months, about a year of excitement. But you will soon come to reality and having to deal with another woman is just as bad as what you might like. Okay? So high chemistry does not accompany high relationship skills. And when we are attracted to someone, we could be attracted to a real bad person. So if your girls or your sons are in love and they're arguing with you, you don't want to be arguing with your kids alone. It's not going to work. You need to get some idea from me or other psychologists. Okay, so if infatuation is not love, what is love then? If it's just a chemical agent that leads you to the true love, what is love then? Of course, Corinthians 13, it'll all come out, be patient. Let's be practical. Let's play language. So I define love as this. I want everybody to read together. Ready and go. The words and behaviors that make your partner feel love. That's love. You don't want to give love in your own way. I was leading a seminar with young college students. There were maybe about 300 to 400 people. So I asked them, what is love? And there was a young boy, and probably he was early into college or something. He raised his hand, he said, it's a Louis Vuitton. A lot of men think that if you give a good present to your wife, she will be happy. Well, it's not that we don't like good presents. We do like presents. But at the right moment, in right timing. So then what is love for women? Because I'm a female, I would like to go over that first, okay? So what is love? So couples bonding, if we talk about 100% of a wife and husband bonding, woman bonds with the husband emotionally. What percent? How much percent, gentlemen? 90%. And she bonds with husband sexually only how much percent? 10%. And for the gentleman, for husbands, he bonds with the woman as a love sexually how much? 90%. And only 10% they were bonded emotionally. So we'll get into a little more detail about this, okay? So what's the 90% bonding of a female? So you don't have to spend a lot of money to be a good husband, pastors. You just learn this and practice. You will be the #1 wonderful husband on this earth for your partner. Okay? There we go. Read together. Ready and go. Washing dishes.
Washing dishes.
Folding laundry. Taking out trashes. Responding to wife's request ASAP. Walking together. Not demanding her to be more patient for the members. Be there for her needs. Loving expression. Remembering special days, cards, small presents, dating at least once a month. Feeling being understood by her husband. And her able to talk without being stopped or criticized. And of course, there is an individual preference that your wife may feel loved by something that I didn't include here. This is in general, so scientific research refers to us. So when my husband washes dishes, I am not standing in the back and thinking, yeah, he got the PhD, that's why he knows the right amount of water and the right amount of soap to wash this thing. I don't think like that. I feel, by looking at him, he really loves me. He cares for me. That's how we feel. So now he does what? Most of the dishes at home. After he realized, he thought he better shape up as a Korean gentleman, going to the kitchen was a huge task for him. Because he was raised by his parents and by Korean culture, men don't go to the kitchen, right? So then it was hard for him to overcome his cultural issue and go beyond the cultural limitation. So I only do once or twice dishwashing. He does it every day. When I fold the laundry and he comes and folding together, I don't think like, well, he didn't even go to West Point. How does he know to fold it in the right angle in such a precise way? I don't think like that. I feel that he really cares for me. And he loves me. Same thing, taking out the trash. When I ask him to take out the trash, guys, don't say tomorrow or later. You guys brains are so compartmentalized, you don't have a tomorrow or later. If you say later, you don't remember. So just do it ASAP, and she will love you to death. And you guys' brain, I cannot get into all the differences between men and guys' brain, men and women's brain, but just remember when your wife asks you something, do it then. Because later may not ever come, right? And when your wife is upset with a church member, you don't want to tell her, you're the pastor's wife. Just be patient. You know, if you're upset like this, how am I going to do this? And I'll teach you how to do this a little bit later, a few minutes later. And of course, when she's sick and she's upset, you need to learn how to take care of her. And of course, loving expression. Remembering the special days. Ladies, which days that your husband just cannot forget? Birthday and anniversary date and Valentine's Day. 3 days, gentlemen, you just cannot forget. You have to remember. Nowadays, you have an iPhone, or the Galaxy phone, whatever phone, you can make all the notations to allow you 2 days before, 3 hours before, and all of that. So make sure you do remember at least those 3 days for her to feel that you do remember her because you love her. Okay? And of all these important things, the most important thing is that your wife is able to talk to you without you screaming at her, I am too tired to listen to you. Stop talking. By the time you say stop talking, you're telling her, don't love me anymore. Because for women, talking is love. All the gentlemen repeat after me. For women, all the gentlemen repeat after me. For women, talking is love.
Talking is love.
Remember this. Is love. It's just like the sex is love for you guys, the talking is love for women. So you have to learn how to talk with your wife. So let's see how, and when all of this emotional bonding is established, then her mind, her body, and her heart opens up for you. You don't have to beg every night. Can you please? When you do this, she will be ready for you. She will be taking shower before you do. And look at you say, I'm waiting for you. What are you doing? So remember that these are the love for women. And let's see, let's go into a little more detail. So how do you make her feel cared by you when she cries? A lot of pastors don't know what to do when his own wife cries. So So this is not the time that you run away. So you go, oh, I'm going to go buy some milk and this and that, I'll be back. You know, don't ever do this, right? And pastors, don't go to your prayer room to pray. Asking God to make us stop crying. It does not work for her. Okay? So don't go there. So you stay right there. And you don't want to say don't cry when she's already crying. You never want to change her
Is she
feeling
promoting not
when
to
she's
pray?
already felt her feeling. Okay? So then what do? I want all of you pastors read with me. Ready and go. It is very hard for you. You have to cry out. I'm so sad for you too. And then you give her a big, long, warm hug until she stops. Now you know? Here we go. Very easy. You know it? Okay? Again, if she's all upset, again, don't run away. Don't go clean the garage or clean the backyard, anything. Just stay there. And of course, you don't go pray alone. Okay? And again, you don't say don't be upset. So what do you say, gentlemen? Ready? And go? This is
Very upsetting for
I
you, I see.
You have
every right
to
to be upset.
And again, give a warm, warm hug until she says, okay, thank you. That's how she feels loved by you. This is very, very important, right? So, you know, when she is all upset and when you say, you know, let's pray. Sometimes, just because pastors, you don't know what to do, everything is about let's pray. So it comes as a form of repression. And by the time you say let's pray 10 times, one of these days she will explode. And when she explodes, there's going to be a huge volcano erupting in your house that you will not be able to stop the eruption. So don't say let's pray too fast, or don't say don't worry about it. She cannot not worry about it if she starts worrying about it. So you need to let her talk and listen to her, and listen to her, and while you're listening, you're going to learn to summarize what she's saying, what she's feeling. All your wives learn how to summarize this morning, so this is the time for gentlemen to learn how to summarize, okay? So that will make her feel very, very understood by you. And then when you're done with all of that, then she may say, okay, I think we should pray. That's the time, that's the right timing that you pray together. Okay? So, what do we do with the summarization? Let's say that she goes, something wrong with that woman. She never leaves me alone. I can never make her happy. Now she's talking about one of your church members. And this is not time that you say, you're the pastor's wife. You should know better. Don't get upset with her. Just to please her, whatever. But if she's already upset, she can no longer please the woman. So you need to learn what to do with that. Okay? Summarize. Gentlemen, read with me. Ready? Yeah. Something must be wrong with her. If you cannot make her happy, no one can make her happy. And she feels so understood by it. So you summarize her and then you side with her, no matter what. Gentlemen, repeat after me again. Summarize. Side with her.
Side with her.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what is the key. No matter what she's complaining, you just side with her. Yeah, if you cannot make her happy, nobody will make her happy. And when you do this, her brain will come down to a reasonable level. And she's a thinking woman too. You didn't marry to a dumb woman. No pastor married to a dumb woman, I noticed. They're always pretty. They're always smart. They always have social sense. All women are so equipped well compared to most of pastors, right? So don't tell her to do this, to that. She already knows what to do. So when you side with her, she will calm down and she will say, there's some part that I didn't do right either. And she will do her own way in repairing work, right? So you summarize, okay? One more. Honey, it's really getting to me. You and your church, they are too much for me. I'm see them anymore. And the pastors, sometimes they don't know what to say. And they say like this, what do you want me to do then? You want me to quit my job? It's a God's work, another guilt trip on your own wife, right? We don't want you to quit any of your job. We have no intention of you quitting. We love Jesus, if not more, or as much as you love God. So don't get us wrong. It's just when we're so frustrated, we need someone to listen to us and just agree with us. We're not asking you to stop doing God's work. We already know that. We already know when we go heaven, we have to face it. We don't want to say, don't do Jesus' work. We want you to continue. But every now and then, we need you to become the little Jesus with the skin on to hear us and be with us. Okay? So what do? How do you summarize this? Okay? All the pastors ready and go. Yes, it is very hard to be my wife, dealing with all the problems. I'm so sorry. It is hard, I agree. That's all you have to say. You don't have to buy Louis Vuitton, Chanel, nothing. Just to summarize. And then you say, it is hard to be my wife, dealing with a church pastor. That's all we need to know. And we will be very, very nice to the members, right? So do you get it? How to summarize? Yeah, and side with her. Okay? So why is talking so much important for your wives? There's a talking center, temporal, the language center. And when the scientists compare this thing, what happened? Guys only have to talk 12,000 words a day. Women, how many words a day? 50,000 words a day. So by the time you, pastors, do one sermon and say hi to all the church members, your 12,000 words are done. But for women, whatever we say outside don't even count. Like a person like me, I do a lot of talking outside, but I still have to pour 50,000 words to my own husband for me to feel I stay alive and I am doing good. So this is very important that we, through talking, wash away our stresses. We, through talking, calm our brain and anxiety. And it makes us sleep better. And it also makes us to love you better. So it is very important for us to be able to talk without being yelled at by you saying, stop talking, I'm too tired. And if you're too tired, there's one skill that you can use. Okay? Amen? Ready? You can do this much. Ready and go. If you're too tired, you can do this, right? So gentlemen, you are my husband. I have so many husbands here. Okay? So honey, you know that Miss Lindsay, oh, she drove